Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. Track and field star Gwen Berry caused an uproar when she turned away from the flag during the national anthem at the Olympic trials. Oh, the outrage was fierce. But is there outrage just? Well, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. As I said, track and field star Gwen Berry. She caused the uproar among conservatives mostly when she turned away during the singing of the national anthem. Now, as I said, if you are outraged over this picture, which did not cause any violence, did not harm anybody, no one died, and also let me add, this is a constitutional right. But if you are outraged over this picture, but you're not outraged over this picture that did cause harm and death and destruction of property. Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building. Why? Because they didn't like the election results. And they were spurred on by Trump, the big lie that he told that the election was stolen from them. And yet they sought to overturn the government of the United States. Gwen Berry basically made a protest over racial injustice. Now, what's the difference between the two? One, racial justice is still a real thing and still happens. The other one is based on a lie. What they're doing here was based on a lie. This peaceful protest, which is her constitutional right. It did not harm anyone. No one died. This protest, destruction of property happened. Several people died. And besides the fact that it was insurrection, they tried to overthrow the Constitution of the United States, or the government of the United States. Now, you have to also understand that the outrage here, or the protest, the protest is when first and foremost, really, this picture right here, Gwen Berry was mad because she felt that this was a setup. The playing of the national anthem, which some say that they normally don't play it during this time. She was under the impression that it wasn't going to be played during this time. But when they played it, she felt like it was a setup. I'm not here to hash out those details. However, the idea of the anthem in which she was protesting was the idea of the national anthem. And there had been some debate over the national anthem, over a line where the author, Francis K. Scott, takes a shot at slaves. And so while some say, well, he didn't mean it that way, well, let's understand why people, and even why Gwen Berry is protesting the anthem itself. First of all, Francis K. Scott was a slave owner. Now, some people say he was an abolitionist, but I'll get to that in a moment, but he wasn't, because he owned slaves. Like a lot of people, there was some cognitive dissonance when it comes to slavery. And Francis C. Scott, on the one hand, he did not like the cruelty of slaves, but he certainly had his slaves. He freed about 7 of his slaves, hired actually an ex-slave, but get this, to watch over the other slaves that he did keep. Now, he, as I said, he opposed the cruelty of slavery, but as he was a racist, and as racists thought of the time, he thought blacks were inferior. And where his abolitionist work came into play was that he wanted to send free slaves back to Africa. And that was a kind of common attitude back then. Even Abraham Lincoln kind of held that send them back to Africa. Send the black people, the slaves, back to Africa. They did not think, even though they might have disliked slavery, they still held that blacks were inferior and that they should not coexist with whites. So this is what she is protesting. Now let me also give you an example of this. These 3 African Americans, actually 4 African Americans. Everybody knows by now Colin Kaepernick, who took a knee, and this act, again, peaceful. Now think about this, peaceful. No one died, no one got hurt. He was protesting police brutality. Now the other 2, the middle picture here was John Carlos and Tommy Smith in the 1968 Olympics. They raised a fist in protest of the racism that was going on, okay, of the day. They raised that fist. They got in trouble for that. Now, one of the most famous faces here is Jackie Robinson. And like Martin Luther King, a lot of people will quote, a lot of people will quote Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" without quoting the first part of the speech. And keep this in mind, the content, the dream of his 4 little black children living in a world where they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, was the dream. The reality was the first part of the speech, which he criticized, I'm going to be kind, criticized America for its failed promises towards the black people, its black citizens. Jackie Robinson refused to stand or sing. He refused to stand and salute the flag, and he also refused to sing the national anthem. And maybe this one of people's favorite sons. People always like him because they he's a credit to his race. But he refused to stand and salute the flag, and he refused to sing the anthem because he said, "I'm a black man in a white man's world." So you see, when people talk about protest and why they are protesting, I think all of the outrage is so you won't talk about these essential issues that still persist today. And guess what? Even in the Church of Jesus Christ. Look, that's my perspective. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comments section below. All comments are welcome. Till next time, I'll see you then.